Hey there, happy Thursday. And I'm talking about a topic that's really kind of close to my heart about, yes, your wife is really trying to change you. I don't know where to start with this. There's an adage that men get married hoping their wives won't change, and women get married hoping that their husbands do. And the truth of the matter is, we are going to be changed by any relationship that we're in because we're interacting with a new person. And most of the time, we either are completely unaware of those changes or we don't mind them. But there's a special dynamic in marriage where a lot of times it's presented as you are not good enough as you are. And I hear you, and I get that, and I've actually heard it a lot, and it really upsets me because men are not reclamation projects. There was something about you that attracted your wife when you first got together, and so you're wondering, why is that not good enough? And a lot of that has to do with not just her expectations, but society's expectations as well. And how you respond to this, though, is really up to you. And there generally seems to be one of three ways that men respond. They follow the ridiculous advice that the key to a happy marriage is for a man to just say, yes, dear. So basically, when your wife is asking you to do something different, you just give in and go along. And that doesn't make you feel very good. And to be perfectly honest, she doesn't really want that either, although she doesn't know that at the time. The next way would be the complete opposite way of how to respond when your wife is trying to change you, is to get really rebellious and refuse just in principle, just because she's asking. And that'll do one of two things. That can turn your marriage into a parent-child relationship where she's the mom and you're the kid. And by the way, that's just wrong on oh so many levels. Nobody wants to have that kind of marriage. But that's what it turns into a lot, because you might be being told how to do the dishes or how to hold the baby or whatever it is that you're being criticized for. And so there's a natural instinct to rebel against it. Guess what? Neither one of those ways works very well. It creates unhappiness and tension and stress all the way around. So if you don't give in and you don't rebel, what's the option? You actually step up and be an adult. I'm a personal believer that marriage is designed to challenge us and to bring about our best selves. I'm going to tell you, my husband makes me better. I hope that I make him better. And that doesn't mean we don't have any tension. It just means I know that what he's asking for, even though it might be difficult, is a way for me to grow. And vice versa. When I ask him something that might be a little difficult for him, it's a chance for him to grow. And I got to tell you, there's a reason why they're called growing pains. Most of us want things to remain the same, except they can't. I joke that when I met my husband, it was back in the 80s, and he wore, I'm forgetting the shoes, Birkenstocks. And he had a little rat's tail. And in the 80s, I had big hair. Now, neither one of us looks like that anymore, thank goodness. And to offset his Birkenstocks and his rat tail, he had great legs and kind eyes, which, by the way, he still does. So those things haven't changed. But those are the external changes that are going to happen. What we don't want, or we don't necessarily understand, is that there are internal changes that get made. And in some cases, we want those internal changes. I'm going to tell you, he's made me realize how much my anger was a problem. I've helped him realize how much him not addressing situations is a problem. So we've been able to grow. Now, just because your wife wants you to do something does not mean you have to do it, but you don't want to just react to it. It's more being able to step back and say, what's this about? And is it beneficial for me? And again, that's just not automatically doing it and automatically dismissing it. She has a way of looking at the world. You have a way of looking at the world. Neither one of those is wrong. They just may mean that you butt heads about them. And how you address it is really the answer to whether or not it's going to be successful. So, yes, she's trying to change you. And in reality, you're trying to change her as well. And a lot of this is not conscious. Now, if she's asking you to do the dishes in a particular way or whatever, that is a conscious decision. And the way to do it is to figure out what is behind that. What difference does it make? I mean, my husband and I used to get into little, I want to call them arguments, little spitty spats, because he would drive in a direction that I wouldn't take, and I didn't know whether he was lost or didn't know how to get there. And so we would just have this back and forth. He just drives differently than I do. That's okay. If you chop up onions differently than she does, that's okay. It doesn't matter. And you can respectfully say, thank you for caring enough to share. I'll consider it carefully, and then go ahead and do what you were going to do anyway. But it's just because she wants it doesn't mean you have to do it. Just because she wants you to look different or be different, you don't have to. But take into account why she's asking. And and it's the same thing. There are things that you want her to do that maybe she's not doing. And it's not a bad thing. That's what marriage is about. Marriage is about our chance to grow and be better and bring our best selves to the table. Big difference is how that happens. Okay? So you are not imagining things when you think your wife is trying to change you. She is. But you don't have to change unless you see value in it. And learning how to do that is really helpful. So hopefully you learned something from this and you found value. Let me know. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know the one thing that your wife is asking you to change that really makes you crazy. And I'd love to help you out with that. So just put the comments down below. And hopefully I will see you again next week, next Thursday. And until then, stay loving.